Hello and welcome. This is a chat with the professional, the show that has been designed to x-ray the activities of professional individuals and corporate bodies. My name is Martin Tobu, and as usual, I'm glad to be with you. Today on the show, we are having a Nigerian professional based in Los Angeles, United States of America, and we are going to be taking a look at his experience being in US for 26 years, and of course, practicing and eventually getting into business. He at some point came home to join politics, and then after 2007 came back to the United States of America. We shall be having an interaction with him to find out how it has gone with him since 2007. We will take a short break now, and the interview segment returns after this time out. Please stay. You're still watching the show, A Chat to the Professional, the show that has been designed to x-ray the activities of professional individuals and corporate bodies. Like I mentioned to you in my opening, today we have another Nigerian professional practicing in the United States of America. He has been in the US for about 26 years now, migrating after his secondary education. But as we speak, he has his doctorate in of course, what they call Juris Doctorate in law in the United States. Perhaps he's going to explain to us what that means, translating it to our own understanding back home in Nigeria. But he is also someone I refer to as a politician. Of course, if you remember, if you witnessed the 2007 elections in Nigeria, he was one of the front runners as a governorship aspirant in Enugu State. The man they call, the man don't come. So join me now as I welcome to the show Dr. John Nwokeabia. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You've been here for 26 years, and I'm wondering, why hasn't your accent changed?
That's a good question. I'm a typical Nigerian man. Okay. I grew up, I was born, bred, and grew up in Nigeria. Okay. And wherever you grew up, you take the accent. Mm-hmm. I came here as a grown-up man, and it's hard when you are a man to drop off your accent. Mm-hmm. I think that's the reason.
Juris Doctorate degree in law, and you are a businessman in the healthcare industry. What's the connection?
Well, law can interface with any discipline you think of. Wherever you take law, mm-hmm. it helps you over there. Okay. In American society, our bread and butter here is when you practice in the health industry.
Yeah.
And that's why I choose to practice in the healthcare.
Okay.
I have my own business in the healthcare, and my legal knowledge or background has helped me for a great deal, to aspire in that line of business.
Okay. Well, of course, the world over, we all know that it doesn't really matter what you studied, and that's why the current curricula the world over is tilting towards entrepreneurship. So it doesn't really matter what you studied. But I'm just going to ask you why the thought of coming back home to participate in politics. Where did it come from? And of course, after 2007, why has no one heard about you again in the Nigerian politics?
Well, first of all, I have the inspiration, to get into politics or begin to like politics when I was in the secondary school. Okay. We used to be vanguards of Jim Nwobodo.
Okay.
So we were, I was then in the youth wing.
Okay.
Around Transekulu area, Ababa area. So, and I picked interest in politics. And you know, of course, when Enenchukwu was in the House of Assembly, and it was all fun. And, you know, since then, I have that desire to be a politician when the time comes. And somehow I found myself in the United States.
Okay.
And after my education, I felt I have enough muscle, you know, to go down and show my interest in politics. I made lots of friends, you know, in politics during the time of Chimaroke. And, you know, I decided to come and, you know, exercise my franchise. Yes.
As a Nigerian.
Yeah.
Living in the United States for 26 years, of course, you've built your family.
Yes.
Around you here in Los Angeles, US. How often do you get them home? Are they as Nigerian as you are?
Well, my kids speak Igbo.
Okay.
Yes, because we try as much as we can, you know, to speak Igbo language when necessary. And given the fact that my mom was here for 10 years,
Wow.
my mother-in-law for 5 years, and my father 5 years before they went back.
Wow.
You know, they like instill the culture of Nigeria into my kids. And that made them, they taught them to speak Igbo too. Of course, they all understand Igbo. The little ones may not speak. My last is 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah, he may not speak, but my first daughter, you know, she speaks and you know, she understands.
Okay.
You know, whatever you say in Igbo.
Well,
And also the second part of the question, because of school schedule is kind of hard to take them home as much as we would want to.
okay.
But they have been in Nigeria couple of times and they love it. And of course, they always tell me, Daddy, when are we going back home? My first son, as a matter of fact, said he don't want to be in United States anymore.
Wow.
He wants to go back home. So we had to, you know, beg him. I had to call my sister to talk to him, you know, to calm him down. So, so because my sister is in the process of finishing her house.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, she promised whenever the house is done, you know, he's going to come back home.
He's gonna come back
Yeah,
home.
so he don't want to, you know, be here.
Well, I asked that question because unfortunately those of us who are privileged to come from that part of the world, who know where we come from, do not so much appreciate what God has given us. We have so many black Americans who are itching to go to Africa. I had an encounter with one of such in your neighborhood. And he questioned that a little child told me he wanted to go to Africa. And I asked the father, what's your take on that? He said, we all want to go to Africa, but the question is, where do you go to? So apparently they do not know where their route is. They know they're Africans, but they don't know which country. But we are going to take this interaction further by the time we return from the break. Don't forget, you're still watching A Chat with the Professional. And we are reaching you today from Los Angeles, United States of America. We will take a short break and we'll be back. Please stay. You're welcome back. You are still watching A Chat with the Professional, and my guest here remains the man don't come. That's of course what he is known as back home. His name, Dr. John Nwokeabia. He is a businessman based in Los Angeles, United States of America. He migrated about 26 years ago, and he has built his family, and according to him, they all understand and speak their local language, Igbo. Before we went on break, yes, you've tried to tell me about your son who wants to go back home. Right now, I'm going to ask you some critical questions bordering on governance. You wanted to be a governor. If you got that chance, what would you have done differently from what has been going on in the administration of both states and the federal government in Nigeria?
Well, first of all, I would like to use the opportunity to, say that but Jonathan, the president, our president, Goodluck Jonathan, is doing a great job in Nigeria. And in my state too, Sullivan Chime, the executive governor of Enugu State, is also doing a wonderful job. You can see, if you come to Enugu, if you are the person that used to go to Enugu, you will notice a marvelous change. He transformed Enugu in terms of roads and other infrastructures. And also, in the national, President Goodluck Jonathan, I will say, is doing a lot of work that people may not see now, but he is building a sustainable economy, trying to work with other countries and giving the leadership to other African countries. You notice what happened during the Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, how he was able to galvanize not only African countries, he also galvanized other South American countries and Asian countries in support of a Nigerian candidate to be the president of World Bank. Unfortunately, it did not work out, but at least we saw that leadership, in him, and it's a very big statement to the world. And in other areas, President Jonathan, you can see, is working to eradicate corruption in Nigeria. Unfortunately, corruption is something that is endemic in our system, and I don't know when that can be achieved, but he is working hard. For the first time, you see a lot of people being prosecuted. What is happening in the pension plan has been there for ages. Nobody gave it a shot until this time around. You see corruption in the police, pension plan, the same thing. So just in Nigeria is a heck of a fight to fight the cabals. You see the energy sector, he's doing a wonderful job there. You see the oil subsidy issue. Unfortunately, this is not military government. He cannot say it and it happens. So, it has to go through some steps, and this is democracy. So the House has to make, or the national legislatures, they have to make contribution, and sometimes it won't go the way the executive plan. So, but if you look at what is going on, you can see some transformations in Nigeria.
Now, but is there anything you would have done differently if you found yourself as the governor of Enugu State, for instance?
Like I said, Sullivan is doing a good job.
In other words, it's more or less the party would have told.
One is that I would have told that part.
Okay.
Yeah. Secondly, because I'm not in Nigeria, I cannot be specific, because I cannot sit in the United States and tell you I know all that he's doing.
Yes.
For instance, I may not be specific what he has done in the field of education or in the information or other ministries. But I do know that ESUT is changing. I do know that because he appointed a very good guy from Nsukka, I think, from Nsukka. ESUT has not done matriculation for so many years. But it just happened.
And convocation.
Yeah, and convocation. That guy just pulled it, the professor. I don't know his name, but he's doing a wonderful job. And you notice the gang activity in ESUT, kind of mellowed down. Yeah. I'm not saying that it has been eradicated, but at least we are seeing light in the other side of the tunnel. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So, kudos to you, Governor Sullivan Chime. Of course, I think you need to perhaps pay him for this image laundering for you. But that's by the way. You mentioned the steps that President Goodluck Jonathan has taken in fighting corruption. And of course, you know that when you fight corruption, it fights you back. He just dissolved the board of the NNPC, for instance. Okay? And you also have this issue of lack of hard work on the part of Nigerians. Why is it that when Nigerians leave Nigeria and migrate to other developed societies, they do what is right? They all of a sudden wake up from slumber, they wake up 5 a.m., go to work, come back 9, no complaint. They find joy doing what they do. But back home in Nigeria, people go to work 8, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock they've left the office. And you begin to wonder, is there a problem with our national orientation? Or I don't get it. We have this thought back home that there are things which we do not know, those of you who live abroad.
This kind of question kind of borders or is a crossover to my discipline, my discipline in the university. My major was in psychology, and there is something we call behavior modification in psychology. Whenever I come back home, I always tell anybody around me that we need behavior modification in Nigeria. We need serious conditioning of the people there. You see, part of the things we need to do in Nigeria to get a good grip on that corruption or change the behavior of people there is to start from the elementary school to inculcate those good ideas and the civility and sensibility into the young ones. Because whatever you are, it looks like we are treating it in the secondary form. We are just handling it with the adults who are already corrupt, who are already no good in their behavior.
More like peripheral management.
So it's like we are trying to manage it, but we are not trying to eradicate it. When you try to eradicate something, you use a book.
Take it from the root.
You start from the root and brainwash the younger ones so that they grow up to know that corruption is bad. They grow up to know that Nigeria, we healthy. This is our country. We stand up for this country, you see, and that we are not leaving it to go another place. Where are you going? Somebody fix their country and we are running over there. Why can't you fix yours? You see, so that's part of our problem. You see, over here, if I call one of my kids now, let me give you an example what I'm saying. If you knock at this door and one of my kids are here, I will run upstairs and say, tell that guy I am not here. Eventually, if he walks in, he will say, my daddy just run upstairs and say to tell you he's not here. That's exactly what she's going to tell you. Because of the environment. We have not taught them to lie. You see, so when you grow up in this system, you see, the system swallows you and your behavior. So when a little boy in Nigeria will lie through his nose and tell you, my father is not here. He has not come back from work. See, but these kids will not do that. So,
well, unfortunately, time is not on our side. This is an interaction I would have loved to continue to have, but a quick one now. We have young ones out there for whom we have structured this program who are looking up to you and they want to be like you. So what would be your advice? 30 seconds.
Well, my advice to them will be to keep up with the education and do the right thing. Don't rush. There's no need rushing.
Okay.
No matter, even if you are moving with the speed of a snail, as long as you keep to the right path,
you have a direction.
You have a direction, you will get to where you are going. You will make it in life.
Well, that's coming from Dr. John Nwokeabia, the man they call the man don't come. I am sure you have been thrilled by some of his analysis of what's happening in our great country, Nigeria. And I can only but add that only hard work can take us to greater heights. If we migrate to other countries and behave ourselves, it simply means that the problem is not that of our intelligence. It's an environmental factor, which of course is influenced by us. If we come together, we'll make a change. And that's in what we can take on the interview segment. It's been my pleasure, Dr. Nwokeabia, having you on the show. Well, we hope that come 2015, we'll see you around. Let's see how it pulls through in the political scene. But so far, so good. It's been my pleasure. This is what we call professional handshake. We do it to encourage these young ones out there to be like you. Thank you once again for coming on my show.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, viewers, don't go anywhere. I will return after this short break to wrap up. Well, that's the much we can take on the show, A Chat to the Professional today. I can only but say that if you are a young person, either in secondary or tertiary school, you must have drawn some inspiration from Dr. Nwokeabia. For 26 years, he has been in the United States of America, still maintaining the Nigerian accent in him, because according to him, that's where he was brought up. And he also is trying to bring up his kids in that direction. Of course, east or west, they say, home remains the best. No matter what we impute into the development of any other society outside Nigeria, of course, it's not going to make any difference until that is taken back home. And that's why I am glad that today we have in government people like Professor Bath Naji, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and so very many other Nigerian renowned professionals who before now had made their marks internationally, but are coming home to say, hey guys, these are the things we can do to better our society. And we are looking forward to having Dr. Nwokeabia also, and so very many other Nigerian professionals, come back home to see how we can resuscitate our failing economy. Of course, we know that the current administration has put in place a strong economic team to revive the economy. It might be slow, But like Dr. Nwokeabia said, yes, these are moves that certainly will revive our economy and put us where we should belong. Let us not just keep answering giants of Africa by the word of mouth. Let us, in reality, be giants of Africa. Till next week when I come your way, I remain Martin Sobu saying stay blessed, and I'll see you.